so what Reef Nutrition is we're a line of foods for corals and fish. We specialize in liquid suspension foods that need to be refrigerated, so no reconstituting, no thawing of ingredients. We tend to keep our animals and phytoplankton and things like that separate per product. We don't combine animals and products. The only combination you would see from us would be our Phyto Feast, which has multiple species of phytoplankton in it. And we sell through retailers, through distributors. We sell direct to consumer. We sell to everyone who has SPS corals, all the way up to big fish that you would have in your aquarium. We even have products that cross over into the freshwater world. And so that's primarily what we do, is we sell foods and help people to, propagate corals, to breed fish, to have healthier fish in their systems. We also have a pelleted food that's very different and unique from our liquid suspension food. So we also have a pelleted food that's very popular in aquaculture as well as in the hobby. And in fact, most of our products are actually popular in aquaculture and in the hobby, whether you're a public aquarium, a coral fragger, somebody who's spawning corals in captivity, all the way to just somebody with an aquarium in their house and it's their hobby. So we tend to offer products for all of those people.
Yeah, and there's a lot of products that you guys have. I mean, Mysis Feast, Oyster Feast, Phyto Feast, Rotifers, Copepods, live Copepods. So let's kind of jump into that world too. I mean, you guys have two different types of Copepods, right? Or a few different types of Copepods that you guys work with.
Yeah, that's correct. We have 3 different species, and they're all quite different from each other, and they have a lot of unique purposes. So a lot of people that may be listening in would be familiar with our Thecorpods. This is one of the first live copepods that was available in the United States retail store market. And so once they're in your tank, the animals that are predators on these copepods can easily find them, can easily see them. And so mandarins are pretty voracious. I mean, they will literally they just eat all day long. If you watch them, you're looking at hundreds of little pecks on your rocks all day long. It's just remarkable. And they're not just eating pods, they're eating probably worms and all kinds of little critters. And so these animals tend to get eaten before their reproductive cycle can kick in and they can start producing young and next generations and so on. And so what we did because of that, and Thecorpods are still a very popular, powerful live feed organism. What we did was we tried to find another copepod that had a better chance of populating a reef tank or a fish only tank or whatever. And we wanted to find something that was smaller, was less conspicuous, reproduced faster, and had the same, attributes. Like they eat algae, they eat organic waste, they eat diatoms, they eat cyano, they're not really picky when it comes to their diet. They will even in nature, they will switch over. If, let's say, diatoms are depleted in their environment, they will switch over to dinoflagellates. They'll eat other kinds of phytoplankton. They will switch to cannibalism in certain situations. And so we found this copepod, Apocyclops panamensis. It is from a different part of the world. You can find these guys throughout the Gulf of Mexico, northern South America, all the way down to Brazil. You can find them in the Everglades, up through Florida. I think they are up in the Carolinas. And this species actually has populations in freshwater, estuary, and full saltwater, full marine. And so we were like, wow, this is a durable animal. And there were already people working with it in aquaculture, and they were feeding it our non-viable dead phytoplankton. And they were like, look, I can grow this thing with dead phytoplankton. I don't have to grow my own phyto. This is amazing. They reproduce. They're tough as nails. They're practically impossible to kill. They even outlast any contaminants that they were found to have in their cultures. And so I was like, wow, those, you're checking all the boxes basically for an animal that's right up our alley. And so I started working with it, feeding it non-viable phytoplankton, getting into the culture, setting up dosing systems, making it a reliable system. And we released this product, this live animal, a few years ago. We call them Apex Pods just because, like I said, they checked all the boxes and they were the best animal that we found that we could work with. They were the top, the pinnacle, the apex. of copepods for what we were looking for. And so these guys are more likely to populate a reef tank. They're more likely to invade every square inch of your system. I don't grow them with lights. I'm just in a greenhouse with natural sunlight. So they can live in a sump. They can live in a filter in the back of your system if you've got an all-in-one or whatever, and they can reproduce themselves, no problem. Now, the only thing that hinders these animals from getting massive populations in your tanks are either other zooplankton, which amphipods are these large crustaceans that you will see, and they're pretty much in every system. In every pet store, you would find them in like live rocks and sumps and things like that. They're pretty big. They're way bigger than the copepods you see in the hobby. And so those things will eat copepods. If their population is huge and you've got a small system and your copepods are trying to populate and get a start, amphipods can hold them back from that. And then you've got fish predators. So if you've got like butterfly fish, mandarins, wrasses, things like that, these animals that are pecking at rocks all day long. I've even seen dwarf angels doing this, and these animals are also going after these pods. And so it's really hard to say how long it'll take for these animals to populate your system to where you can see them. It's also hard to see these things because once they're in the tank, if they're not on the glass, or you're not flashing a light in the middle of the night, or whatever, after lights are out, they're really hard to see. And that's the point. They're trying to be cryptic. They're trying to hide. They're trying to blend in with their environment because they are a prey item. There are things hunting them down and they know it.
Yeah.
And so they can be really hard to detect. And so that's why we always recommend, when you get these apex pods, or if you want to add these to your system, add them before you've got fish, add them while you're cycling, add them while you're seeing the ugly phase kind of thing, diatoms and things like that. That's when you get them in there and you let them populate, you let them breed and just start to swell their population so that when you add fish, especially a fish that needs to eat live copepods like a mandarin, you'll know that that population is big enough to supply that animal with plenty of food.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're going to help clean up that, especially during your cycling phase and stuff, the beginning of your tank. They're going to help clean up the tank by eating the diatoms and everything in there as they populate. So
absolutely.
If you enjoyed this video, then I know you're going to love the full podcast episode. Go ahead and click or tap your screen to watch that. Thank you so much for watching, liking, and subscribing, and I will see you next time on the Coral Reef Talk.